Good day, my name is Henry Stone III. I'm a certified economic developer, executive director here at MEDI. What we do here at MEDI, which is an acronym for Minority Economic Development Initiative of Western Kentucky, is we try to help individuals go from concept to completion. If you thought about starting a small business or you have started one recently, or if you have an existing business and you want to expand, our role is to provide you free services, free consulting, free business planning, economic development assistance throughout the process. So we help you go from concept to completion. MEDI was started in the summer of 1988, so it's about 32 years old today. There was a group of concerned African Americans in the community that brought the situation to the city, to the chamber, to the Economic Development Council, supported by the city's Human Rights Commission, as well as the NAACP, TVA, a number of individuals, Focus, the movers and shakers, and they were concerned with the number of African Americans that started businesses here in Hopkinsville, as well as those who was able to obtain gainful employment. And through those conversations, through those meetings, they created a MED ad hoc committee, which is Minority Economic Development ad hoc committee, which was initially started inside the EDC. I first applied for the MEDI job in the early 2000s, after coming home from college in 99, and in the early 2000s, the job came available. First time I applied, I didn't get it, but I really liked what the job had to offer. I really liked the organization. I really liked its calling, its niche in the community, and I applied again and was hired in 2005 with MEDI, and have been a part of the organization even during its when it spun off of the Chamber of Commerce in 1999. So it served as a good incubator and gave us a good foundation to grow from. And since 1999, we incorporated, became a 501c3 economic development organization, and I've been in existence ever since. My background is I have my business degree is in economics. My master's degree is in public administration. I have a certificate in nonprofit management. My first job out of college was a great job. I worked with the Community Development Services, which was then the Hopkinsville Christian County Planning Commission, and it really gave me some great structure on understanding the politics of administration, as well as administration as a whole for an organization. What attracted me to the job is what it did. It provided individuals an opportunity to create something that didn't exist just yet that would make our community better. So a lot of times we have really good ideas, really good concepts, but the second stage from that, in addition to having a good idea, is having a good plan and then to execute that plan. So it's a three-step process. To have an idea is not just enough. So I wanted to help individuals on not only having an idea, but help them plan it and then help them execute it. MEDI is small enough that it can be nimble enough that it can respond and change with time. Okay. So when MEDI initially began in the late 80s, early 90s, it had a duality approach. It helped individuals start businesses and it helped people get jobs. And then in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had the entrance of temporary agencies, which put a wedge in the relationship between MEDI's initial economic director, a lady named Patricia Morris, having the ability to help someone get a job directly for that gainful employment, and thus individuals had to go to the temporary service. So MEDI began to do more small business development. And it brought in the next lady, Patricia Bailey, and she did a great job helping individuals start businesses. And after that was Ron Sidnor, and I'm the fourth director. So we were able to shift with times to do less job placement, again, because the environment changed. We were no longer able to be successful and to do more small business development. And since then, we have a strategic alliance with the Small Business Administration. We serve as a strategic alliance partner with Tennessee Valley Authority. And of course, we serve as the local arm with the City of Hopkinsville and Christian County government as well. And we have great relationships, like I said, with SBA, with USDA Rural Development as well. My role is I call it a dreamologist. So I want to sit back and listen to how can we help someone? What do they want? And then, best I can manage those expectations. It kind of depends on what an individual would like in the business. Are they starting? And then what kind of business are they starting? Or there's three ways you can start a business. You can start one organically, which is your ideal, independent, grassroots. Sometimes it has the name of mom and pop, if you will. The second way is you can buy an existing business from someone. And the third way is you can purchase a franchise. So we help individuals navigate those three processes because there are some idiosyncrasies, if you will. There were some challenges and some components that someone may not be aware of, and we try to help them do that. We help them develop a business plan. I'm a big advocate of the business plan. Nobody ever plans to fail, but a lot of people fail to plan. We help go to the bank with them if they need to go to a bank for a bank loan. We also give loans up to $25,000 as a micro loan for individuals that may not be bankable, if you will. So our role is to come alongside you and to provide customized support, because no small business is the same. No individual starting two same type of businesses are the same. So in my mind, I like to say we help individuals learn how to ride a bicycle. We're there when you take the training wheels off as well. We can support you when you're going from a small bike to a mountain bike. And we're the people alongside of the road when you're down on the Tour de France, handing you that cup of water as you go. So we try to be with you throughout the journey of small business development. To think about what have we had to adapt to be the most, to be effective, I think is the noise. Noise in the community is it forces you to try to be as competitive as you can as an organization, even as a nonprofit organization. So what has happened is small businesses, organizations have a life to themselves as well. Some of them don't make it, some of them do make it, and some of them grow up to give birth to other ones. So what you have when an organization's new, everybody loves on it like a newborn. Everybody wants to be a part of it. Everybody wants to donate and contribute and help when they can, just like a newborn. But when that newborn gets to be about a teenager, people can easily forget about it sometimes. And they're not as passionate about it any longer. And they don't give the same amount of support as they do when they did when the organization was in its infancy. So we had to learn how to develop more revenue for ourselves because you can't just ask the public sector to do all the funding for the organization. As we begin to, although we are still a 501c3 and the contributions are tax deductible, the same level of passion is not there today as it was in the late 80s, early 90s. Nor is the community the same, or the individuals in the community the same as well. So we've had to force ourselves to be more competitive and consistently, I don't want to say reinvent, but innovate what we do, who we are, and how we do it. So as we continue to help small businesses, what we've also tried to do is provide more of a public impact, meaning maybe do more events for the public to experience and let them see some of the cultural enrichment things that we can help an individual do, and to also be a little bit more advocating of policies and programs that can help a community grow its economy. You know, you're exactly correct in how do I define success, and you know, it's a very subjective word. I like the idea of how do we prove our value, or how do we prove our worth as well. So how do you show value in a community as an existing organization? And there's a number of different things we've done. One of my favorite small business success stories, if you will, was working with Karen and Norris Kennedy, the founders of Buffalo Wings and Rings here in Hopkinsville. It was the biggest deal for MEDI. We had just spun off from the Chamber of Commerce. The community was kind of watching closely to see what happens. Are you going to develop into a beautiful rose? Are you going to fizzle like a one-egg pudding? You know, and we had the biggest year in the organization's history as far as jobs created, businesses that we assist start, and capital investment, meaning the money that you help leverage to go into a small business. And it was, for that year, it was about 1.5 million. It was a huge year. And that Buffalo Wings and Rings, it was a 1.2 million deal in itself. And it was a business that it was funded by a local bank. MEDI had some skin in the game. They did a micro loan as well. They purchased a franchise organization. I can remember sitting here at the meeting with the architect of the franchise designing that location, or going to the lenders, commercial lenders meeting with them to talk to some of the components of a business loan, from the interest rate to the duration to all those fees and things of that nature. And like you said, although that business, it went out in its 8th or 9th year, and we can argue about why exactly it went out. But what it has also done, it has birthed 2 or 3 other businesses. And there is a business that anticipating opening now in that same location. So, it reminds me of the scripture, unless a piece of corn fall on the grain and die, nothing can be rebirthed. So that happens sometimes. We were really fortunate to start the International Festival as part of our Med Week, which is a fundraiser, which is Minority Economic Development Week. We do those every year, and we birthed it, and we're very excited that it has turned out to be one of the city's greatest events. And again, to show the strong level of cultural relationships in our community. Not only Hopkinsville is the #1 diverse community in the state, not only from African American, but for every sector of minority. So it has all the ethnic groups. We have the highest per capita in the state of Kentucky. We also did an African American historic site tour in partnership with Kentucky State University. That turned into a really good tourism event. It turned into the African American cell phone tour. Then an individual can go to a particular location in the city and they can listen to a conversation from somebody giving them instruction about who this individual was or what this location was that they were a part of. We started the Entrepreneurs Conference, which has been grown into the Western Kentucky Entrepreneurs Conference. Again, that serves the region. So those things were great for us to do. When we first moved downtown from the Chamber of Commerce on Fort Campbell Boulevard, there were no businesses, there were no policies, there was no growth plans. It was us and Furrows and a couple other organizations. And so we're excited about not saying that we are directly responsible, but I do believe we are a contributing factor. The businesses that are on 6th Street or have been on 6th Street, either half of them we have either helped fund or helped start in any regard. The first one that went on there after the supply company was there was Dee's Delight Bakery, and we helped fund that organization. So we are excited that we kind of helped spear what we thought is a really good improvement in the city, not only just from one small business standpoint, but from a community development standpoint. And 6th Street is a really nice place, and has grown to be a redeveloped Alhambra Theater, and now it has a really nice municipal building also in the location. So that downtown, and it continues to grow, and it got a lot more potential as well to grow up on. I surely feel the responsibility and have grown to embrace it. Or to look as a legacy and understanding Dr. Woodson's goal when he founded Negro History Week back in 1926, it was to eventually go to a place to where Black history was indoctrinated throughout U.S. history, which it wasn't then, and it somewhat is not to this day. So yeah, I kind of I hope that one day individuals can look back and say, that guy really helped our community, in addition to the Black community, grow to what it is today. And one of my, mentors, I have a lot of mentors, was F.E. Whitney, and that's why we did the F.E. Whitney Classic. A true diplomat. We both are alumni at Kentucky State University. So for me, and there's others that may have come before him, but I didn't know them. I had opportunity to learn a little bit from Mr. Whitney and really value his ability to be diplomatic and the understanding that the key of a niche in a business, and I would always call him Mr. Ambassador because he was so smooth, so humble. And I asked him, I said, you could have first Black realtor in the state of Kentucky, and I said, you could have a real estate business anywhere. Why do you locate where you're located? And he used to be located on the corner of 4th Street and Campbell. And he said, my goal is to help Black people become homeowners, which is a way to help them to become wealthy and to stabilize the community. And he said, that's my lot in life. That's what I want to do, and that's why I'm located where I'm located. And that for me exists for MEDI. I love serving everyone, but it's hard for me not to look at the glare of Black people's wealth being 10% of white people's wealth. Maybe 12 to 15, you kind of look at the numbers, but that's a huge gap. It's hard for me not to look at the glaring effect on the education gap between Black students and non-Black students. So although I serve everyone, you can only take one girl to the dance. If you have individuals that want to start or that are struggling to start, encourage them to call. Bring them yourself, or or schedule a three-way conversation between us three. Sometimes it's difficult for the individual to make that first move. If you are a commercial lender and you know someone wants to come and get a small business loan, but they don't have maybe all their ducks in a row, then while they're in the office, call MEDI or shoot an email asking them, can we bring in somebody else and maybe we can get this business going, because it may not be where it needs to be at this time. That's important. And I think that's the number one thing. A lot of times we have some clients that might say, God told them to do that, which, it's not my goal to try to interfere with that. Nor am I a small business God. I'm not the small business God to determine what business fails, what business succeeds, no matter what the idea is. My role is to try to help you plan the idea to improve your level of sustainability. Okay, my role is not, do you think it's gonna work? That's not my role, because I don't know what the future may hold for someone. So if God did tell you to build it and you're kind of using it as an example, then I would also say, God also gave Noah the dimensions of the ark. He gave Noah the type of wood to get the ark made from. And in the book of Habakkuk, God tells Habakkuk to see the vision, write it down, make it plain. So although he might have given you the unction or the concept, or you just feeling led, you're not a believer and you're just feeling led, it's still important to write that vision down. A lot of times I give the example of individuals going on vacation. They will spend 2 months, if not more, planning a vacation. I have young children, so we may go to Disney or something, and we'll look at, do we want to stay at the Disney Resort or somewhere else in Orlando? And when are we going to go in June or July? When is the visitation low? And how long are we going to stay? 4 days, 5 nights, or what have you? We will look at it. We'll see what the customer reviews are to see what people like. Are we going to, get a park pass and jump from the different 4 parks that they have there? We will spend quite a bit of time, and then we will budget. Is it a $4,000 trip? Is it a $7,000 trip? Or no matter where you may be going, it may be a $2,000 trip. It may be a $100 trip. I don't know. The idea is, I have seen individuals spend more time and money planning a family vacation than they do their own startup business that they expect to make them and their families wealthy for the rest of their days on the earth. So I would say you are on the hook to give your small business the same amount of respect, research, and appreciation and budget as you will a family vacation where you're going to go blow money. Although you're going to make some really good memories, you're still going to blow money. You're not going to have any future from that. So at least do that. And it may be that you travel. That may be that you travel to a business that exists. That may be that you travel to a conference. That may be that you take a class. That may be that you invest on your startup with one of the Power 5 members, whether that's an attorney or a CPA or insurance agent or a commercial lender or a consultant. Invest in that small business the same way you would invest in a vacation, because it has the potential to produce more results from you. My dream as a whole is to be one of the U.S.'s #1 small business developers, the #1 Black business developer in the U.S. And I think MEDI is the platform that allows me to make it to that dream. But in the meantime, I think my goal for MEDI is it is seen, appreciated, and accepted as our community's #1 small business development organization. We've been constant, we've been steady throughout the late 80s and early 90s. We've been here where other organizations may have folded, come back. We serve everyone. I don't think you'll find a better expert than myself that has almost 20 years of experience, certified economic developer. There may be 8 of us in the state, 2 African Americans, 1 here in your town. So my dream for MEDI is that it is seen and appreciated and accepted and eventually funded as the #1 small business development organization in the community.